Images of cute animals induce positive emotions and neuroattentional focus. Door in the face technique. Large request, will be shut down. Then, smaller request, more reasonable, probably will accept. If you eat fish will help with early brain development. Prevention or treatment of brain-related problems. The idea that the planet would be better off without people on it. Dangerous to promote. Easy to get apocalypses. And feel that you reassaulted by catastrophes from so many directions that the only logical thing to do is to ignore them. But in 1970, approximate 900 of the 3.5 billion people were hungry. The same number were hungry in 2008, however the population had doubled. So, the hungry people have kept the same during that period of time. And it's not what people predicted. Better fed than they ever have been. More obese people in the world than hungry people, obviously has its downside. In 1981, 52% of population, 2 billion of 4.5. The estimates of $1 per day. In 2005 decreased to 25%. And decreasing 1.5 to 2% per year. Poverty in East Asia decreased more than 50% since 1990. Lifespan increased in Africa. 3 out of 4 people have a cell phone. Brought tremendous economic advantages. The sub-Saharan African countries are now the fastest growing economies in the world. We are in a situation where the only reason for starvation and hunger is political. Decreasement of number on anti-democratic or totalitarian states over the last 30 years. Because totalitarianism decreases its essential validity. Collapse of the URSS, Iron Curtain. The opening up of China. Massive economic productivity increases, combined with massive population increases. We have a lot of management problems, a lot of us, we eat a lot. But we're trying as hard as we can to put things together as fast as we can. When we put our minds together, we can actually fix things pretty fast. And the part of the necessity that precedes fixing things is to become informed enough so that you understand at least to some minimal degree what you're talking about. What's still bad on the world? Corruption, cause of suffering that's underaddressed under political reasons. A pollution problem, basically a waste management problem, because we waste a lot, because life is very complex and difficult to sustain and we want to live longer, and we rather that everyone didn't suffer any more than they had to. The oceanic problem. We are overfishing dramatically. Global warming, the error in the estimates of the likely warming of the planet over the next 60 are so large. Even if we stopped using anything that produced CO2 now, we would never know if that actually helped. So, we need to start addressing things in the short term to prove that it's actually having positive consequence. It fits into the category of solvable problem with potentially proper interventions. If we keep up our rate of fishing for the next 20 years there's not going to be a lot left. Also, the loss of the beauty and the diversity. And the potential to truly transform the nature of the ecosystems of the ocean, it's getting bad. The planet is covered 2/3 by oceans, we're messing with that, the fish don't have a chance against our technology. It's inappropriate use of technology. Books. The end of the line. Unnatural history of the sea. The most important fish in the sea. Menhaden fish. Cod. The big oyster. The oceans have 2 kinds of structure. 1. The pelagic zone, extends 50 miles from the shore continental shelf about 500 feet, and because it's only that deep, light can get to the bottom from the sun, so you need light for things to grow, like plants, so if there is no plants, animals can't eat them, so there aren't any animals, so life is within 50 miles from shore. Most of the ocean it's 2,000 to 11,000 miles deep there, it's not really much life, high pressure, very cold, very dark, things that live there, are not very understood and don't grow very fast, if we fish them it's even worse, they take forever to grow back. As we fish all the pelagic zone we turn to the neritic zone, with trawlers that can reach 2,000 meters down to the bottom of the ocean. It's low quality, we don't really understand, and it's easy to devastate. Things that broke my heart. See how much things were before we took it? It was a catastrophic, aesthetic, and spiritual loss of the absolute bounty of the planet, the magnificence of nature. We're denying ourselves the privilege of experiencing that. Sturgeons can weigh 1,200 pounds. Shad. They used to catch 600 per day. Now it can barely catch 600 per year. Halibut. Salmon and lobster, used to be to feed convicts, it was basically junk fish. Now are regarded as delicacies. 2 to 4 million turtles in the Caribbean are pretty much all gone. Sea otters, ate the urchins which grazed on the kelp. Whales everywhere. Herring. Haddock. 1,855, 43 fishing schooners caught more cod than the entire Canadian fleet caught in 1999. In 20th century was a 95% reduction. In 21th century was a 95% reduction. So, it's a 95% reduction in a 95% reduction. Contributors of the problem. Tragedy of the commons. A field on which anybody can graze their sheep. So, everyone will get your sheep out there and let them eat all the grass before the next guy get his sheep out there and eat all the graze. So, when there's no fixed ownership of a resource, it makes sense economically for the first person who gets first access to the resource to take as much of it as they can, because everything that they leave will be taken by someone else. At least in 1978 the open sea was 7 miles offshore, where the national jurisdiction ended and the rest of the sea was regarded as free to take anything they wanted. Technological creep. The boats are getting better and better technology. Boats deadlier even with the same size, with the latest tools. Fishing down the food chain. Plankton at the bottom, eat everything, at the bottom of the food chain. Then little fish, then medium fish, till sharks, swordfish, tuna, and human beings. So now we tend to like the taste of the predatory fish because they're hard-muscled. So, we are fishing down the food chain, from the big fish at the top like sharks, about 70 million killed for shark fin soup. All the way down to the little fish. When we found a new species it's take 15 years to deteriorate them less than 85%. There has been a global decline in the world's catch ever since 1998. Paul Ehrlich in 1968, with the book Population Bomb, predicted that by 2000 we will starve to death. He failed, commodities prices plummeted, but seafood didn't work that way. Seafood it's really expensive, because if something gets expensive it's because there actually isn't that much of it anymore. Plus we reharvesting species. Trawling, a huge net that's put behind a really big boat. And the net is weighted down and has rollers, put it on the bottom of the ocean, and digs down to a depth of 8 inches, then just drag the thing, until the net fills up, it fills with whatever it's down deep. All the corals come up, maybe it takes 10,000 years to grow up, habitat for fish, you only keep 10% that you can eat, and 90% it's thrown back, catch. Getting bigger and bigger. Because they can and because they rechasing a diminishing resource. Pull out the things you can eat and let everything else rot. Most parts of the sea have been disturbed at least once a year. The damage caused is 100,000 times bigger than that of oil or gas exploration. 25% of the world's total catch is hauled by trawls. Longline fishing. Up to 40 miles long and 30 hooks per mile equals 1,200 hooks. It pulls thousands of seabirds, turtles, sharks, so the catch problem is even bigger. Menhaden are vegetarian, you can't eat them. And take garbage out of the water. But humans take them into as a fertilizer. Sand eel, same as the menhaden. Burning them for oil. 1992 on Canada. 2 billion fish catched. Cod. Herd animals. They arrange themselves in cod schools. The big cod in the middle and the little cod on the outside, so the predators only catch the little cod. They use the school as a mating structure. So, if you blow the cod structure, they don't know what to do. Other reason that they haven't come back. It's because if you devastate a population, you change the ecological conditions of the environment. Because the way of ecosystem sets itself up, depend on which creature gets there first, so other animals just catch them and the cod are gone. Fish come back pretty fast if you leave them alone. Like, when in the Gulf of Mexico got full of oil, the rate of fish increased because no one catches them, despite the fact it was full of oil. Leave the things alone for a while they can come back. 1992, 2002, 2003, 2005. Canada promised in writing that they will protect 20% of the fish environment. And they have only protected 1%, and you can fish 95% on that. Australian have protected 20% of their oceanic area. Also, will be good for the fishermen, because they can hang in the borders of the protected area and catch everything that's left. Insane mismanagement. Hauntingly foolish. The political will, can fix it? It's actually happened, it's not good, happening a lot, going to get worse, not a lot fish to eat, ocean will be a barren and dismal place, and we can actually do something about it. The situation in the ocean is so bad, that you don't need to be an expert to realize about these things. The marine protected areas are a good idea. Preserve some coastline and let the fish have a fighting chance. At the end, they're starting to process jellyfish for food. As we get rid of the fish, the whole ecosystem starts to turn back to 400 million years ago, before there were any fish. So, destroying a resource that can actually enjoy aesthetically and practically, and destroying that seems to be not nobody's best interest, and it's actually happening at a high rate.